Miss Skelton, Miss Skelton, Miss Skelton, Miss Skelton. All right, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. We'll call this April 17th full council to order. I would like to welcome the leadership class from Russellville Chamber of Commerce. Gentlemen, and ladies and gentlemen, I apologize. In all our craziness, last Monday, we forgot to pick someone to pray, to call and pray. So if no one has any objections, I'll quickly pray, and then we'll have a moment of silence followed by that. And if you would, please stand with me after the moment of silence for the Pledge of Allegiance. I'm sorry. All right. Father, we thank you for this night. We just ask you bless each and every one of us, and I pray that you give us wisdom as we make decisions on behalf of those that have elected us, and ask your favor be upon all those here in Jesus' name. Amen. You would remain silent for 30 seconds. All right, if you would join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you so much. All right, Ms. Skelton, would you please give us a roll call?
Mr. George, Miss Wetzel, Miss Young,
Here.
Mr. Olson, Mr. Bradley, Mr. Pearson, Mr. Gray,
Here.
Mr. Keller, Mayor Teague,
Here.
Mr. Smith,
Aye.
and myself. Do you have a quorum?
All right. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, have you had the opportunity to look over the minutes from March 2025? If so, I would entertain a motion.
Motion to approve.
Have a motion and a second to approve. Any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? All right. At this time, Ms. Brittany Baker, our finance director, will give us the financial report.
All right. The finance report this month is going to look a little bit different design template, same content. The general fund revenues for the month of March were $1,236,801. Of that, $972,779 was sales tax and state turnback. $57,516 were franchise fees and permits. $206,506 were all other revenue. A tax revenue comparison. The city's portion of the county's sales tax, there was a little bit of an increase over the prior year. That came in at $1,426,164. The county was $1,717,523. And then there's also a budget year-to-date analysis comparison. General fund expenditures for the month of March totaled $1,597,860. Of that, $1,211,691 were personnel-related expenditures. $386,169 were utilities and other. Street fund revenues for March were $997,908. Of that, $598,118 was the 2021 sales tax. $176,699 was state turnback and ad valorem tax. $107,075 in interest. $4,400 were street cutting permits. $111,616 were all other revenue. Street fund expenditures for the month of March, operational expenditures totaled $196,358. Of that, $144,773 were personnel-related expenses, $51,585 were utilities and other. Street capital spending totaled $115,282. This was for billboard message boards, computers, a plow install, and shoring material. The 2021 sales tax spending totaled $535,939. That was towards South Waterloo Avenue drainage maintenance, downtown improvements, the Raise Grant Project, US 64 East pedestrian improvements. State turnback and street project spending was $313,863. This was towards traffic signal improvements and railroad crossing improvements. Economic development revenue for March totaled $113,114. Of that, $89,945 was new sales tax and rent, $23,169 was interest, and there were no expenditures in March. Below is a balance of the various economic development funds at the end of March. In total, those are $6,142,617.86. Capital assets, March revenue totaled $1,046,393. Of that were the transfers to capital for building and network infrastructure. That was approved last month through appropriation. $794,506 was a transfer to capital for the airport grant. $1,887 was for interest. March expenditures in the capital assets was $15,009, and that was all for building expenses. Below is a breakdown of the 2021 1-cent sales tax. What's received, what's been spent, the balance of each. In totality, the unspent balance is $23,067,395. And that concludes the finance report. Any questions?
Thank you so much, Ms. Baker. All right, moving on to the mayor's report, there's quite a few things here to go through. Consideration of a reappointment of Chase Smith to the Board of Commissioners for the Russellville Housing Authority. I have a motion.
Motion to approve.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Item 2 is consideration of a reappointment of Greg Boborick to the Historic District Commission.
Motion to approve. Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Item 3 is consideration of the appointment of Regina Watkins and J.P. Leonard to the Historic District Commission.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion is second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Item 4 and item 5 are a couple things that I wanted to bring to your attention. The several citizens of the community have reached out, the city clerk and otherwise, to thank Public Works Department for their outstanding job on the sidewalks throughout the city. Really have done, things are looking really amazing, and Public Works is getting a lot of praise there. And item 5 is several citizens have reached out to the city clerk and others that the Aquatic Center employees are doing an outstanding job. That would be Miss Jana and her team. Are doing a great job, and they're saying that this is one of the best staffs that they've ever remembered, and management at the city Aquatic Center facility since the inception. So great job to these crews that have been acknowledged by our citizens, and we're appreciative of all their work, as we are all the work of all of our employees. At this time, this month's departmental report will be from Ms. Sarah John Dahl from Planning and Development.
Thank you, yes. Starting this month's report out with, earlier this year we did, or last year we did Picture Perfect Russellville, and this was the photography picture that was chosen as the winner for that. Just to reiterate the beautiful area that Russellville is. So in 2024, staff planning reviews, we completed a total of 348 reviews for subdivisions, housing, commercial permits, fence permits. The breakdown is there. And these are just some of the examples that were approved last year. Code enforcement closed a total of 1,400 cases and the breakdown of the different case types are below. At the end of the year, there were still 120 total cases that were pending open. You know, with code enforcement, it takes a while sometimes to go through the process. And these are just two successes. We like to highlight projects or code cases where you see restoration happen, and the photos to the left of the screen is a house that was considered dilapidated and restored. And then unfortunately, sometimes houses are considered dilapidated, and the pictures to the right bottom, the property owner demolished that. I believe their plans are to build a single family or a duplex on that property there. So the Planning Commission heard a total of 27 applications, large-scale developments, special use permits, subdivisions, zone changes. We're all familiar with Olive Garden and Academy. The bottom picture is that site today under construction. It's not often that an application gets approved and you see it happening so quickly. So we're really excited about how quick some of these applications are going through. The Board of Adjustment heard 19 different variances last year. Historic Commission, and thank you for reappointing Greg and appointing our two new commissioners. We're very excited about having them. They heard, there were 13 certificate of appropriatenesses issued last year. Some of those are staff review because we can approve signs at the staff level, but then you've got the renovations happening there at the handlebar just down the street on Commerce. The picture at the top is previous to the restoration work that's ongoing, and then you have the under construction front of that building today. Then you can see some of the other applications we saw there, like the Old Bank Golf, which is the golf course on Main Street. Some of the accomplishments that happened in the Planning and Development Department. We had the homeschool group present their final project to the Planning Commission in May of 2024. And that was so cool to see this homeschool group build a community. They designed where roads and buildings and structures should be, and they presented that to the Planning Commission last year, which was a neat project. Then we took National Planning Month by storm. We posted several educational videos online about updating about what urban planning is about. And then we held a public interest meeting for the Planning Commission Board of Adjustment vacancy. There was one vacancy on both, and we had 5 different citizen applications, which is a huge improvement over previous vacancies. I had the pleasure of going to the National League of Cities City Summit in Tampa, Florida, to present on how the city was able to successfully apply for and obtain that RAISE grant that we have received. Attended forum with 3 historic district commissioners to make sure that we're getting the up-to-date training to make decisions within our historic district. And exciting news, I know you all know this, but Victoria had a healthy baby girl last June. So these are just some of the accomplishments from our department. The Lattimore Tourist Home, like to give you guys an update. I know you hear frequently throughout the year of what's going on, but just a reminder of how important this project was, from where we've moved it to a temporary location and then a permanent location. And a lot of ongoing work is going on there. There are always upcoming tours, and so just to let you know, there's going to be a tour as part of Preservation Month, and then there will be Juneteenth activities there at the house as well. Typically, we have a Code Enforcement Yard of the Month program. Last year, with all the broadband installations, we determined that it would probably be best to pause that program last year because a lot of the yards were not as stellar as they had been previously, but we are going to be engaging that program this year and look forward to seeing some beautiful yards. And then just to give you an update on the RAISE grant, the consultant is working to complete final alignment details. There have been some minor shifts in alignment, nothing drastic. We did hold the first public information meeting April 10th. 30% drawings should be submitted for review to Federal Highways by the end of May. And we are currently looking at right-of-way certification being complete in March of 2027. And we are hopeful for a shovel in the dirt by the early fall of 2027. Just reminding people that this project, this RAISE grant is not going to be done in a couple days, that it is a several-year process. And we should have all of the trails completed, well, we have to have all the trails completed by the end of 2032. And then we do make periodic updates to the Facebook page, so please check that out. Community revitalization is another project that we do in planning and development, and we did that in June and September of last year over in the Glenwood neighborhood. We had 35 volunteers serving a total of 88 hours. You can see the improvements there. That's just one property, and that house did receive a brand new roof donated by Owens Corning as part of that revitalization project, and that was our first artistic crosswalk. We have another artistic crosswalk coming up in the next couple days, and this Saturday is our next cleanup at Crawford Park. So as I was saying, upcoming events: community revitalization, Crawford Park, North Erie. Tomorrow, Saturday morning, meet at 8:30. We will park at the intramural fields for ATU and meet at the corner of East End and North Detroit. That's that little map up at the top. April 24th at 5 p.m. here in this room, ATU has had a class, an independent project-based learning class studying historic fabric in Russellville, and they're going to present their findings to the Historic District Commission. And then next week is Cards Bulk Spring Cleanup. This is what's acceptable and prohibited. If you have any questions, please reach out to code enforcement. And then last but not least, we are kicking off Preservation Month in the month of May with an ice cream social on May 2nd from 12:30 to 2. And then we have several tours planned for the month of May. May 2nd, like I said, is the ice cream social, but it's followed by the Russellville Depot tour. May 10th is a tour of Potts Inn. The 14th is a tour of Russellville City Hall. May 17th, you can go help out at Oakland Cemetery. May 24th is a tour of the Lattimore Tourist Home, and then May 28th is a tour of Pope County Courthouse. And that is my report for this month. Or for this year, are there any questions?
Thank you, Ms. John Doe.
Yes.
Appreciate you. All right, moving on. Chairman Gray, does Personnel Committee have anything?
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Excuse me. Personnel Committee met today at 5 o'clock to consider two positions, a senior planner and a planner 2. Please note these are not positions that we're going to hire. It's to give the city and the planning department some flexibility as we move forward. The planner 2, it's planner 2, which is a higher level. I was thinking planner 2 would be a lower level, but it's actually a higher level. And then the senior planner, which would be even a higher level. So we did this to, again, give the department flexibility as we are transitioning at this point. And again, we're not filling these positions right now. We're just giving the department some flexibility. It was approved by the Personnel Committee and moved as a motion, and I'll make a motion to adopt.
All right, so got a motion to adopt. All in favor? Any opposed? All right. Anything else, Mr. Gray?
That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Moving on to Finance Committee, Mr. Keller, do you have anything for us?
Yes, sir. From our 5:30 meeting today, item 1 and 2 are both appropriations. Item 1 is an appropriation of $3,000 from the Parks and Rec Special Fund to fund the expense of starting a basketball program. And Item 2 is an appropriation of $3,000 from the Parks and Rec Special Fund to fund the expense of starting up a pickleball program. We present items 1 and 2 as a motion to adopt.
Have motions to adopt. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right.
Item 3 is consideration of a reimbursement request for the first quarter expenses for the Boys and Girls Club in the amount of $28,963.86. We present item 3 as a motion to adopt.
Have a motion to adopt. All in favor? Any opposed? All right, moving on.
Item 4 was a motion from the floor to start the process of purchasing the tract of land marked in green in the exhibit in our packet for the amount of the tax bill, approximately $138. Preparation of a quitclaim deed for the tracts involved, and working with adjacent property owners regarding the property or the tract in red. And we present item 4 as a motion to adopt.
Have a motion to adopt. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right.
Item 5 was consideration of an ordinance approving the private club permit for Umami Club transfer and allowing for the application of the required permits from the Arkansas Alcoholic Beverage Control Division. And we present item 5 as a motion to suspend the rules, dispense with the reading requirements, read by title only with short explanation for the first of 2 readings.
Just a second.
Have a motion and a second on the reading. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, sir.
An ordinance approving the transfer of a city private club permit to NAMI Club required by the state private club permit application to the Arkansas Alcoholic Beverage Control Division per ACA Section 3-5-222 as amended for other purposes. This ordinance, if passed, would approve the ownership transfer at the restaurant known as Unami's at, I think it's, and on 304 North Elmira, as required by state law.
All right.
From our Finance Committee meeting last week, item 1 is consideration of a resolution to revise the fee schedule for the Russellville Oakland Cemetery. We present item 1 as a motion to adopt.
Have a motion to adopt. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right.
Item 2 is consideration of an ordinance to amend the administration fee in the Russellville Oakland Cemetery Code as adopted by ordinance number 2460. And in discussing with the city attorney, because the resolution in item 1 and the ordinance in number 2 are kind of go hand in hand, I move item 2, I move to suspend the rules, dispense with the reading requirement, read by title with short explanation only for the first and only reading.
Second.
All right, I have a motion and a second on the reading, one time only. All in favor? Any opposed? Sir?
An ordinance amending the Russellville Oakland Cemetery Commission Code adopted by 2460, and for the purposes this ordinance, if passed, would amend the administration fee and change the percentage on it, which is also within the resolution as previously passed, as shown on Exhibit A. It'll go from 10% to 20%.
All right.
Is that me or you? No? I guess all those in favor of
You have a motion to adopt? Yeah, we have to have a
Okay,
motion and a
sorry.
second to adopt.
Sorry,
You're fine.
motion to adopt.
I have a motion and a second to adopt. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Yes, moving forward.
Sorry about that.
Well, you're fine, sir.
Item 3 and 3A. Item 3 is consideration of a resolution with the mayor and city clerk treasurer to sign a grant agreement with the Arkansas Historic Preservation Program for a certified local government grant award. And item 3 is the appropriation of $55,500 to fund the comprehensive revision of the Russellville Downtown Historic District Design Guides and efforts towards local preservation. We present items 3 and 3A as a motion to adopt.
All right, I have a motion to adopt. All in favor? Any opposed? All right, moving forward.
It has been requested that item 4 be tabled this time, so at this point, I move that we table item 4.
I have a motion and a second to table this item. All in favor? Any opposed? All right.
Item 5 is an appropriation from the 2021 Economic Development and Capital Fund carryover balance in the sum of $19,995 for the purchase of a Mud Dog pressure washer trailer. And we present item 5 as a motion to adopt.
All right. We have a motion to approve. All in favor? Any opposed? All right, moving on.
Item 6 is a resolution expressing the willingness of the city to utilize TAP funding, authorizing the mayor, the city clerk treasurer, and grant administrator to execute all necessary documents for Russellville Comprehensive Trail System complete connections. We present item 6 as a motion to adopt.
All right, I have a motion to adopt. All in favor? Any opposed? Chairman Keller, I was just notified by the city clerk that item 4, the request was to remove this at this time instead of tabling it. Is that correct, Mr. Carp? It is. So could we possibly move back to item 4 and make a motion to, can we just make a motion to remove it, Mr. Smith?
So moved.
Got a motion and a second to remove item 4 as requested by Mr. Carp. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Thank you, Ms. Skelton.
Item 7 is a consideration of a resolution authorizing the mayor and the city clerk treasurer to execute a 99-year license agreement with the Dardanelle and Russellville Railroad Incorporated to use certain lands, identified lands owned by the Dardanelle and Russellville Railroad Incorporated for trail construction and trail use to complete, in part, the Russellville Connected Trail System. We present item 7 as a motion to adopt.
I have a motion to adopt. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, moving forward.
Item 8 is consideration of a resolution authorizing the mayor and the city clerk treasurer to sign a long-term lease for property to use as public parking for the downtown area. We present item 8 as a motion to adopt.
I have a motion to adopt. All in favor? Any opposed? All right.
Item 9 is an appropriation from the 2021 Parks and Rec Special Fund in the amount of $6,902 to purchase a courtesy dock with a kayak ramp. We present item 9 as a motion to adopt.
All right, item 9 has a motion to adopt. All in favor? Any opposed? All right, moving on.
Item 10 is consideration of a resolution authorizing the mayor or his designee to dispose of personal property rendered worthless by the prolonged use of unsold at a public auction and having residual value, and also authorizing the mayor and city clerk treasurer to sign any agreement to disposal of said personal property. We present item 10 as a motion to adopt.
I have a motion to adopt item 10. All in favor? Any opposed? Moving on.
Item 11 is consideration of a resolution expressing the willingness to support by the city for the Ozark off-road cyclists to apply for the TAP RTP grant for Pine Knob Phase 2, authorizing the mayor, city clerk, treasurer, and grant administrator to execute all necessary documents in support of the Ozark off-road cyclists applying for said grant. We present item 11 as a motion to adopt.
I have a motion to adopt on item 11. All in favor? Any opposed? All right, moving on.
Item 12 is consideration of a resolution authorizing the mayor and the city clerk treasurer to sign a real estate offer and acceptance with Douglas G. Rogers, the third LLC, to purchase 5 acres and a structure at 1801 South Knoxville Avenue in Russellville, Arkansas. We present item 12 as a motion to adopt.
Got a motion on item 12 to adopt. All in favor? Any opposed? All right.
That's the last item on our agenda, Mayor.
Thank you so much, Chairman Keller. Moving on to unfinished old business, item 1 is consideration of an ordinance approving the private club permit for La Union Social Club, Inc., allowing for the application of the required permits from Arkansas Alcoholic Beverage Control Division per Arkansas Code. This would be second of final reading. I'm not sure. Would it be the second and final reading if we have a motion for that? So, does anyone? Do we have a motion?
Mayor, I move we suspend the rules, dispense with the reading requirement, read by title with short explanation for the second and final reading.
Second.
Motion and a second on the reading. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Sir?
An ordinance approving the city private club permit for La Union Social Club Incorporated required by the state private club permit application, required for the state permit application to the Arkansas Alcoholic Beverage Control Division per ACA Section 3-9-222 as amended for other purposes. This ordinance, if passed, would approve the city private club permit as set out by ACA Section 3-9-222 for La Union Social Club, Inc., also doing business, or known as doing business as Toro's Mexican Drill at 2009 East Parkway Drive.
Thank you, sir.
Motion to adopt.
Have a motion and a second to adopt. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Item 2 is a consideration of an ordinance to rezone a certain property from R1 to R2 medium-density residential located along the 1000 block of Sequoia Way. This is submitted by William Strait on behalf of Victor Melcore. This will be the third and final reading.
Mayor, I move we suspend the rules, dispense with the reading requirement, read by title with short explanation for the third and final time.
I have a motion and a second on the reading. All in favor? Any opposed? Sir?
An ordinance rezoning certain realty in the city of Russellville, Arkansas, and for other purposes. This ordinance, if passed, would rezone property at 1000 block of Sequoia Way as further identified by the Polk County Assessor's parcel number 780-00068-000R as further described in the legal and aerial attached with the ordinance incorporated herein, and rezone it from R1 to R2.
Thank you,
Motion
sir.
to adopt.
Have a motion. Have a second? Have a motion and a second to adopt. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, thank you. All right, item 3 is a consideration of an ordinance authorizing the extension of sewer outside the city limits of the city of Russellville, Arkansas to 1285 East Gum Street for other purposes. This is submitted by Nicholas Haggerty. This is the second of 3 readings.
Mayor, I move we suspend the rules, dispense with the reading requirement, read by title with short explanation for the second of 3 readings.
Have a motion? Have a motion and a second. All in favor? Any opposed? All right, sir. You're fine.
An ordinance authorizing extension of sewer outside the city limits to the city of Russellville, Arkansas to 1285 East Gum Street and for other purposes. This ordinance, if passed, would be part of the procedure as set out by ordinance number 1485, which requires passage of an ordinance by the city council to extend either water or sewer, in this case, water, I believe. sewer for the property at 1285 East Scum Street, approximately 1.2 acres in size.
All right, thanks, sir. Item 4 is consideration ordinance amending the current zoning code for the city of Russellville, Arkansas, ordinance number 2443, and for other purposes. This is submitted by Planning Commission. This is the second of 3 readings.
Mayor, I move we suspend the rules, dispense with the reading requirement, read by title with short explanation for the second of 3 readings.
I have a motion and a second on the reading. All in favor? Any opposed? Sir?
An ordinance amending the current zoning code for the city of Russellville, Arkansas, adopted by ordinance number 2443, and for other purposes. This ordinance, if passed, would make the following amendments to the Russellville zoning code, which is adopted by ordinance number 2443, amending Article 1, Section 11, lot of record, Article 2, Section 2.16, planning and developments, Article 3, Section 22.5, commercial building design regarding mechanical equipment, Article 5, Section 8.7, monumental signs, Article 8, Section 8.3, special use permits, Article 10, Sections 10.5 and 10.6, administration and enforcement, and Article 12, adding the definition for the term development, small-scale multifamily development.
All right, thanks, sir. Item 5 is a discussion regarding Phoenix Innovations parking lot and an open discussion about the entire situation surrounding the parking lot repair and resurface. Mr. Harrison, I believe you have a request. If you would make your way to the, Mr. Harrison has chose to speak, and I think he may have a request of the council.
Thank you again. I'm Nathan Harrison, president of Phoenix Innovations, and I'm asking for a table to the next May City Council meeting. I've contacted the AEDC after our last meeting, so instead of me trying to interpret emails and you guys trying to read through them, the AEDC has agreed to join us for a meeting. They didn't have enough time to be at this one, but the AEDC would like to come and speak on behalf of the project as a whole and what the intent of their emails were regarding the equipment versus the parking lot debate that we had when we were here last time. The Assistant Director, Jennifer Emerson, is working on it. She's going to assign. They also still have some of the employees that worked on the project there, and so they've agreed to come up and speak so that you guys can have a more comprehensive picture of the grant itself versus what the city was responsible for.
Are you asking for the regular council meeting or agenda prep?
Whichever one's
Probably, I mean,
appropriate.
it feels more like agenda prep.
That would be the second Tuesday of May. Would that give you time?
I'll go back and check. I have a call with the AEDC in the morning
Okay.
based on what happened this evening.
Oh, it's Tuesday, May 6th, yes, so.
Why are we meeting the first Tuesday?
Yeah, I don't know.
Because the first falls on Thursday. This is one of the weird
One of
times
the weird
where.
ones.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right,
so-
that's fine with me.
So,
Yeah.
So yeah, it would be
Mr.
May 6th.
Mr. Harrison, if you would, just contact me or Ms. Skelton, if, do it? Yeah, not, she said not me. She
Yes, ma'am.
said- Contact Ms. Skelton, so, if, where the AEDCs gives you that, and we'll try to work with that, and we'll try to put that on, agenda prep, okay?
I appreciate
Now, we'll have
y'all's
to have a motion,
consideration.
we'll have to have a motion for this.
Make a motion to table this one to the next May meeting,
Second.
May 6th meeting.
Okay, I have a motion and a second to table this discussion until May 6th. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you for coming out, Mr. Harrison.
Thank you.
All right, so. All right, moving on to new business. At this time, I will open up a public hearing. No one's here to speak on behalf, so we will close this public hearing. Item 1A is a consideration of an ordinance vacating and abandoning a 20-foot alley between lots 12 and 13, Block 42J, El Shen Edition, City of Russellville. And for other purposes, this is submitted by RVI Investments LLC. This is the property right next to the Innovation Hub. It's an alleyway.
Mayor, I move we suspend the rules, dispense with the reading requirement, read by title with short explanation for the first of 3 readings.
Second?
I have a motion and a second on the reading. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, sir.
An ordinance vacating and abandoning a 20-foot alley between lots 12 and 13, block Lot 42, Jail Sin Edition, City of Russellville, Arkansas, and for other purposes, this ordinance passed, would vacate the aforementioned alley at the aforementioned place and width, and vacate all city rights and abandon it so that it would revert back to the owners on either side adjacent to it.
All right. I'll entertain a motion, or if anyone has anything else.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn. We will adjourn. Thank you.